a chair. Do we have any proposed and seconders for the election of a chair, please? Thank you, Councillor Buffy.
I'd like to propose Councillor John Alton as the chair, please.
Thank you very much. Would anyone like to second that? Thank you, Councillor Fletcher. Okay. Any other nominations? None. Thank you very much. So, Councillor Alton, you are elected chair of the Shadow Council. Congratulations. If you'd like to, yeah, thank you.
Broke something already. Thank you to the interim chair for that. So we're going to move to the second item on the agenda, and that is the election of a vice chair. I would like to propose that Diane Sumter for the role of vice chair. Do I have a seconder? Oh, thank you, Councillor Ward. So item 3 on the agenda is then apologies and notification of substitute members. So I'll turn to the interim clerk to give those.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we have apologies from Councillor Anthony Frankland, personal commitment, Councillor Colin Minto, a work commitment, Councillor Trudy Mitchell, a personal commitment, Councillor Clive Trott, a work commitment, and we do have Judy Pounds, who's substituting this evening for Councillor Trudy Mitchell. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll now move on to item 4 of the agenda, declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. I would just like to notify all the councillors sitting here that I previously conferred, and there's no need to declare the fact that any of us are sitting district councillors or neighbourhood councillors, just to be clear. So are there any members who have an interest to declare on any items on the agenda in accordance with the Council's Code of Conduct, Section 27, Localism Act 2011. Councillor Buffy.
Sorry to disrupt. It's not actually to declare an interest, but I just wanted to check. You didn't check if there are any other nominations or have a vote on the vice chair. I have no objections, fully support Diane. Just want to check that we don't have anything later on is a problem.
Thank you, Councillor Buffy. So we'll get back to item 2. Are there any other nominations for the vice chair of the Shadow Parish Council? Seeing none, do all those agree? Thank you very much. Apologies. So were there any other declarations of interests? Councillor Fletcher?
I just wanted to clarify whether there was anything necessary in that when we became councillors, we had to declare whether we owned a property in the area. Also, you've confirmed then being a member of the neighbourhood council isn't relevant. There's also membership of the of Blueprint. I'm also a member of the Horsham Society and the Horsham District Cycling Forum, and obviously a member of the Liberal Democrats as well. So I just want to be clear.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. You don't need to worry about any of those. It's all around really financial interests. So, for instance, the pecuniary interests, financial interests could be employment, a trade profession or a vocation carried out for profit or gain. There could be sponsorships. There might be contracts we talk about on the Shadow Council that, you have an interest. Non-pecuniary are around, could be membership of charities, clubs or societies or other bodies that pertain to the Shadow Council. unpaid directorships, for instance, that might be prudent as well. But just to be clear, when it comes to interest, it is for members to decide if it isn't, they want to declare the interest. I'm not here to police your interests. That's for you, obviously, to manage those yourselves. Thank you.
Hearing that, is there anyone who wants to declare anything else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to item 5 on the agenda, which is the terms of reference for the Shadow Council, which will also be seen as attachment 1 in the agenda packs or online if you printed that. So I will turn to the interim clerk if she'd like to introduce the terms of reference.
Thank you very much. So with the draft terms of reference, I did circulate these in good time for you all to give you an opportunity to feed back. I didn't have any comments that led to any amendments. So if members are happy with what's before them as the draft, we would like to, I will hope you're going to adopt them this evening, and then we'll be able to use those for the Shadow Council future meetings. Thank you.
I would just like to point out something that came up before the meeting, just under point 4, membership, just to be clear, the members of the Shadow Council do serve only until the 31st of March, just to clarify that. For those who are district councillors, just you might have noticed that there's a difference in that papers are published 3 days before each meeting, slight difference. And that's all I noted. Does anyone else have any comments or questions or points of discussion? Seeing none, then can I have a proposer to adopt the terms of reference? Councillor Steele, thank you very much. And a seconder? Councillor Skip.
Thank you.
All those in favour of adopting the terms of reference as in your packs, raise your hand. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Excuse the paper flipping. Next, item 6 on the agenda is the draft budget for 26-27. Attachments 2, the several attachments labelled 2. And again, I will turn to the interim clerk if she'd like to introduce that.
Thank you, Chair. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to read the spreadsheet, and I broke it down into core elements that you would need for the new parish council. So things like the website, IT hardware, software licenses, auditors as well. There's going to be 2 sets of those. That's an internal auditor and an external auditor. Venue and office, so venues for the meetings and office space. Finance software, obviously that's essential. Insurance, payroll provider for the staff that are going to be employed. Broadband and telephone, a printer copier scanner for the office, and obviously bank accounts are going to have to be set up as well. And then there are subscriptions that are normally taken up by parish councils, which is the NALC or SELC. That's a combination of the area local council and the national. The Society of Local Council Clerks, that's another very helpful membership with lots of resources. The National Allotment Society, I am advised that won't be necessary at the moment because the allotments are actually managed by associations for the new parish council. And there is a very helpful company called Breakthrough Communications who do offer training and GDPR support. That will be something that obviously the new council will hopefully consider after the elections. Then you have the salaries for officers. I've done a quick calculation there, so you can see that includes on costs. And the proposed allowances or allowances that have been mentioned, obviously it'll be for the new council to decide if there will be councillor allowances, but that is factored into that draft budget as well. And then there were 2 little breakdown spreadsheets behind there. One was around the salary costs. So a parish clerk RFO, that's a dual role. Then a finance assistant and an administrator. So you can hopefully see how those costs are worked out there. And then the last one was, I've been to Blackridge Community Centre, I know some of you are aware, and had a look at the site. So there is a helpful breakdown that would be the costs for using that as the site in the interim period. So I'm not talking about a long-term arrangement. I'm talking about something the end of April, where the new parish council can meet for their first meeting. There could be induction for the new councillors there, an office space to be used as well, hopefully with some recruitment happening very soon after the elections. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any specific questions to the budget documents that you have seen? I will go first to Councillor Sumter.
Thank you. I did send these through. I wonder if you could just explain why we're going to Blackbridge Lane for everybody rather than anywhere else, please.
Yeah, so I know there have been other sites mentioned to me, Park House in particular. I have had confirmation from the property team here at HDC that there are long-term lease arrangements, tenants in place at Park House, and there are no break clauses options available at the moment. So there is no immediate availability with Park House. I'm not saying that's something that the new council shouldn't explore with the district council once the elections have taken place, but I'm really keen to secure somewhere very quickly because it does take time to set up broadband recording and live streaming, which is what will be expected of the new parish council, you know, the second week of May, somewhere where I can do inductions with 18 councillors. It'll be probably about 6 a day. So it has to be somewhere that, you know, I'm not going to get disturbed. So all these things, and obviously the setup, you know, you need a copier, you know, a machine in place. So everything sort of comes back, you know, to the countdown to May isn't very long, and therefore that's the option I know is definitely available. I've been out on site and seen it, and it definitely is a viable option, and it is an interim arrangement. Obviously, you know, I'm not discounting anywhere else, but if there was anything stronger and anyone knows about it, please do let me know. Thank you.
Councillor Mercer. Mike.
I may be showing my ignorance, but why can't the interim arrangement be here? Why can't it be here?
Well, there has been discussion. I think, and pardon me because I don't know the logistics of this building myself very well, but there is a space I know that's being, a new tenant is coming in, I'm told, and there has been a very fair price negotiated with the new tenant, and it's something that would be extremely more expensive than the Blackbridge Community Centre, is my first comment. I don't know if Aisha has anything to add, because I know you've been having conversations as well.
I think the other thing that I've kind of mentioned is one of the things that the new parish council would have to think about would be whether it wanted to distinguish itself from the district council and not kind of sit within its offices, and also the reception space, if they want to be open to the public. This wouldn't necessarily be the ideal space given the amount of space that we have in reception. Those are my only comments on using this space.
Councillor Skip.
Thank you very much. Yes, can I be assured that we will pursue looking for another site nearer the town centre? It just strikes me that people in one part of the parish are going to find it difficult to get to St Peter's if they haven't got cars and public transport. And I just think it makes sense to keep the parish council as local as possible to all the residents rather than nearer one or other. And I'm not bitching about, you know, where it is. I'm just saying, can we keep this open? And it does seem to me, just from looking at the site, that it's a pity we couldn't be situated here along with the district council. So I just like that noted, really.
Yes.
Thank you. I believe we can note that, and of course, as stated, really a decision for the elected town council to take, but that's what we are here to do, to advise them in their roles. Councillor Emery.
Thank you, Chairman. In respect to the finances, I noticed that in year one of the 168,000, 121,000 is in salary costs. And clearly we need a parish clerk, and we need that's a full-time, that's an FTE full-time position. Given the amount of work that's involved, do we really need full FTE? Do we need fixed costs of the financial assistant and the administrator? Is it not possible that we can outsource some of those so we pay a variable cost based upon the amount of work required? rather than having to employ people on a 3-day-a-week basis?
So, I mean, you could certainly outsource the finance assistant role. Whether or not that would be more cost effective, I mean, I've been in the situation where I've used agency as well, and it's not always, you know, a better alternative. Depends on obviously the new council's position with pensions, for instance. That has a huge impact on costs, you know. But the administrator, certainly there will be a necessity, if you're open to the public, for somebody to be permanently employed that will be meeting the public, taking the phone calls, you know, dealing with emails that come in, inquiries. That isn't really something you'd want to put out to an agency role, because it's going to be an integral part of the new council. That person will be, you know, very essential, is my opinion, working with the clerk, because obviously the clerk can't be, you know, meeting the public and creating reports and agendas, and yeah. And that's the idea, really. The new council will be open to the public. The expectation would be 3 hours per day, you know, maybe 9 till 12 or 9:30 to 12:30. That's what I'm certainly used to. And with a new parish council, I'm sure there'll be lots of residents want to actually, you know, come and see what's happening, you know, meet the staff and the councillors. So there would certainly be an expectation for there to be availability of the new parish council once it's set up, because clearly they'll be paying in through the precept and they'll want to engage, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Go to Councillor Pounds.
It's come to our attention that Blackbridge Lane has actually been blocked out from 8 o'clock in the morning until 11:30 in the evening from the 1st of May onwards. So we're just wondering, are the public able to use that building, that room at that time? Or does that mean that it's actually booked out permanently?
So when you talk about booked out, I know that the office space upstairs, which is what I went to look at last week, there is an expectation that would be reserved or given over in the interim arrangement to the new parish council to use as an office space. So that's that top floor, I call it, the first floor. The ground floor, the main hall, that will still be available for hirers, and that's why I'm waiting to hear back from the property team, because they do have some regular hirers, I think 2 or 3. One of them is certainly the scouts, and nobody would want to prevent the scouts from meeting. So I'm very keen, once I know the evenings that the groups meet, then I can create a schedule around those evenings, so we're not preventing, you know, regular hirers from using the space, because clearly the council wouldn't be occupying the meeting space apart from evenings. You know, if there were any small council meetings, you know, we could accommodate that on that upper floor. Thank you.
If I could add on to that, maybe I need to turn to Democratic Services, but with the bookings that have been ongoing up until May of this year, have alternative locations been found for any organisations using the upper mezzanine floor this hitherto?
That isn't a conversation I've had, and I was not aware that there are hirers using that space, but I can certainly find that out and come back to members with an answer and an update. Thank you.
I think Councillor Fletcher, you had a question, and then
I just think that for transparency, given that the councillors, shadow council, haven't been directly involved in this, it would be useful to have some understanding of the process that's been gone through in choosing our contractors, in effect the auditors, the pension providers and so on, just to understand the due process that's been going on there.
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher. So I'm not saying that I haven't made any choices. These are literally estimates that I've gathered for the purposes of creating this draft budget. So if something is going to be, you know, I don't know, in the financial regulations, if it's going to be in excess of a certain cost, then obviously I'll be getting 3 quotes. But these suppliers that I've attempted and found these estimates from are the groundbreaking go-to people, in my opinion, since I've been doing a clerk, because they do provide the best service. And I have used alternatives for websites, for instance, and it certainly isn't something that has worked out too well, is what I would say. And also with the payroll provider, You know, outsourcing payroll is very important if they've got 3 staff, because obviously you don't want to be in a position where you're paying your own salary. So, and the cost of that, you know, when you balance it against protection for these officers to make sure that they're, you know, not committing fraud and things as well, is very important. So what I would say is I've got those prices as estimates, but that isn't to say that those people are going to be selected. There will be another process that I'll follow up with, hopefully by the next meeting. I've got a lot of work to do. Thank you.
And one second, and if I can just clarify for everyone as well, my understanding is obviously we're not voting on this budget tonight,
No.
and in fact we as a shadow council will not be voting on the budget. We are merely recommending this first year budget to the elected council, which will then ultimately take these decisions. Correct? Okay, thank you, Councillor Sumter.
Thank you. Not directly to do with the budget, but I think it is important that because this, the minutes and everything are open to the public, that we should make mention that the special charge, whilst not in this, there's still a special charge going on for next year, because people are very confused that they've got to pay 2 sets of charges, the precept and the special charge. So whilst it's not on the budget, I wonder if reference could be made in the minutes so that anybody looking at it will realise that there are 2 sets of charges.
I think the point is as well that the special charge will not be money or income that will come to the new parish council. So it may confuse matters by mentioning it. I do think that there is, you know, a need for the publicity to make sure that residents are aware. And I know that Horsham District Council are doing some of those, the comms team are doing some of that behind the scenes through the magazine and the website. But certainly, you know, if it was something that related directly to the new parish council, then obviously that would be included in the budget. But as it isn't anything to do with the new parish council, but I do appreciate the comments, so thank you.
But of course, now that we've aired it in this meeting, it can be minuted just to be clear that this budget is made up of the future precept and not of the special charge. Just to be clear for everyone. Councillor Fletcher.
Sorry about coming back for a second bite of the cherry here, but it just reminded me when you were talking about publicity to the public to explain what's going on. I think there may be a case to have a line item for some publicity, Parish magazine equivalent work to be undertaken early on in this process.
So Councillor Fletcher, are you talking about a new parish council magazine, or are you talking about something that's already in circulation?
I'm talking about communications from the new parish council to the parishioners to explain what's going on.
Yes, of course. And that's something that I have put in the strategy as well, because it's very important to engage and communicate and let everybody know. At the moment, we're using the Horsham District Council website and the Horsham District Council magazine. But obviously the new council, when it's formed, will have its own website, its own social media. And, you know, if there was appetite for an actual Horsham Parish Council magazine, I've certainly set one of those up before, and I'd be more than happy to speak to members.
Okay, well, I just suggest that maybe that should be put in as an item, considered as an item for the budget.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Ward.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask if the special charge money is not going to the parish council, where does it go?
It goes to the district council, as it does now, to spend on behalf of what was the unparished area, but will now be the parished area.
Any further? Oh, sorry, Councillor Buffy.
I appreciate it's been covered, but I just wanted to add my concern, and just for noting around Blackbridge Lane. I understand the circumstances, but I think just being mindful of the fact that there are other users of that upstairs space. I completely understand the need for the space to meet and all the things that you said about induction and training and all of those things in the first instance, but I have a degree of nervousness around removing a space that's available for community hirers for an indeterminate period of time. Because that kind of was a slight little bit of a surprise over the last day or two to me. Thanks.
And I think following up on that, just I think reiterating to satisfy this council, shadow council, if we can confirm that the current hires have alternative provision, I think that would hopefully satisfy
Yeah.
concern.
Thank you.
Any more questions on this agenda item, budget and finances? Seeing none, thank you very much. So that was mostly for noting, if I'm correct. So then we'll move on to further draft documents, and those are the draft governance documents. Members were invited to consider the standing orders, financial regulations, and code of conduct. And then I will turn to the interim chair again, or interim clerk. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So hopefully you had an opportunity. I did a little covering report just to outline the purpose of the Code of Conduct, Standing Orders and Financial Regulations, and also the recommendations to note the draft documents, provide any comments, suggested amendments or areas that require clarification, and agree that revised versions be brought to a future meeting for approval for recommendation to the new parish council. So this suite of documents is the governance framework, if you like, for the formal operation of the new parish council. And these three core documents are very important. The Code of Conduct sets out the expected standards of behaviour for members. The standing orders have the rules and procedures for council meetings and decision making. And the financial regulations provide the framework for sound fiscal management and internal control. There is one other document that you haven't got this evening that will be coming up, hopefully the next meeting. That's terms of reference, which will be around the committee structure to give an outline draft of how that committee structure would work, and obviously the rules and things around the committees. So that one will be coming through. These documents are essential to ensure that the parish council operates lawfully, transparently, and in accordance with recognised principles of good governance. So I did a quick summary for you as well, and then the importance of the recommendation. These documents provide a clear and robust governance foundation, support effective risk management and accountability, and ensure that members and officers operate within a consistent and transparent framework. A meeting enabling the council to meet its legal obligations from the outset. Thank you.
So further noted, well, we will open up for discussion. Obviously, there is still time to submit comments to the interim clerk to be built into further drafts of this document before they get at least approved by this shadow council to recommend to the future council. So any comments from councillors? Councillor Fletcher.
So it obviously makes sense to be basing our documents on the model terms of reference and standing orders and so on. I had two comments really. Firstly, whether you would have anything to say to us about when you looked at those model documents, areas where you thought that there might be value or a need to diverge from them in any way, or things that we as amateurs to this should be looking at in terms of that, rather than just necessarily adopting it as they stand. So that's a question to you. And the second thing is that it occurs to me that there are quite different ways that councillors operate. That if you're a Horsham District Council councillor, you're very much used to dealing direct with the public and being contacted on your own email address, and you refer to officers as necessary, but not necessarily all the time at all. In the neighbourhood councils, they're similar to a parish in that things go through the clerk, but the practice amongst the three neighbourhood councillors varies, and indeed it varies between the neighbourhood councils and parishes. So I think it would be useful at some point to have discussion and guidance on how we should be doing those communications amongst ourselves, with you and with the public. So 2 points for you.
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher. So in terms of these documents, and if there's anything in particular I think that needs altering or certainly these documents are based on, the sound legal approach and good practice. And obviously, National Association of Local Councils, they have a lot of teams of people that work on these documents, and that's why they draft them, so precisely for local councils. And certainly until the new council is formed and there is clear direction of what the new council wants to do, I don't think there is much benefit at the moment in potentially changing anything in these templates. I think certainly once the new council's formed, maybe after 6 months, then they might want to look at them, and depending on what direction the parish council's going in, that would be then when there would be some merit in revisiting them. But I think the templates are designed to fit all, if you like, and then obviously particular councils, depending on the direction they want to take, they will actually change them, add to them, depending on the situation. So does that
Thank
help?
you. That's a useful steer, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, sorry, the second question. I nearly forgot. Sorry, Councillor Fletcher, can you remind me again? My mind's gone off to...
It's about how we communicate,
Yes.
what's done through the chair,
Thank
what's
you.
done directly. And
Thank
so on.
you. So how it would normally work, and again, this is from my experience, it's probably not the same in every local council, parish or town, but I'm very much, if you wanted to, meet with the public or speak to the public, as long as you're not going against a council decision, then there isn't an issue with that. If there's something that you think somebody's brought to you that you want some assistance with, I'm certainly open, and I've always been the same. If you wanted contact at the county level, or you don't have somebody in a district, but obviously a lot of you are district councillors, so it probably won't apply to you. But if you had a councillor on the new parish council that didn't have any experience and wanted guidance, I, as the clerk, I would be expecting to assist them. Does that answer your question, or?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's exactly what I was expecting to hear, to be
Okay,
fair.
okay.
I was sort of expecting to hear that all correspondence should be copied in to the clerk, and that we wouldn't have public emails, at least at this stage. So
No.
I'm saying I just think it would be useful to understand it a bit
Sorry,
better. May just be me.
Sorry, you're talking about the shadow council, not the parish council. Sorry.
Well, I think at this stage I'm primarily concerned with the shadow council.
Yeah. So
but,
there is,
but it's obviously that we're building towards how it will work.
exactly.
The
At the
council itself.
moment, there is no expectation for the shadow councillors to have any contact with the public. So there is nothing that you're not expected to. Obviously, if you do have somebody approach you, in your district council hat on, that pertains to the new council, please do direct them to me, because it might be something that's happening behind the scenes that we haven't publicly shared on a meeting yet. So yeah, there is no expectation at the moment for shadow councillors to be contacted by the public, but certainly if you do, because you may well have that, please copy me in if you're any particular queries that are pertaining to the shadow council, because it might be something that that I'm not aware of and somebody else has thought of. Does that help?
I'm slowly kind of creeping towards it, but still, sorry, trying to get my head around it. I'm wondering whether it might be useful for you and the chair to talk this through, and then perhaps send a memo out to us.
Yes, of
so
course.
that we're all on the same page, and we can bring any queries we have based on that.
Of course, no problem. Thank you.
Councillor Fletcher, I know as this pertains to the shadow, and I know that communications isn't necessarily referenced in the terms of reference of the shadow council, which we've sort of just approved. We are talking about the website in a couple items, and perhaps I'll bring this up again at that point, because I want to actually feed your point into the website, because I had a query for that as well. So any more questions on the standing orders, financial regulations, or code of conduct as seen? Councillor Steele.
This is a very minor point probably, and I may have misunderstood it, but under 12E...
Which document, sorry?
I'm talking about the standing orders.
Yes.
It says if the council's gross annual income or expenditure does not exceed £25,000, it shall publish draft minutes on the website. What if it does, which of course this town council will? Do we go then to paragraph 20 about freedom of information?
So it does come down to, if it's a very small precept, they do have to publish the minutes. Everybody does that anyway. So it's just pointing out that if you were a very small council, you wouldn't have to, worry about you have to make sure that your minutes are on the website. So, but everybody does that anyway, and that's a normal practice, and that's certainly what the new parish council would be expecting to do as well.
That takes me on, if I may, to the second point then. It does refer in here to the publication scheme. Are we going to be looking at a publication scheme before April or not?
So I certainly will bring a draft publication scheme, yes, that will be recommended, because that's another vital governance document. Thank you.
Councillor Buffy.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much for all the work that's gone into pulling these documents together for us, Interim Clerk. And I do appreciate that we shouldn't really be, I have no intention of fettering a future council with any particular changes or whatever, but I suppose what I would just like to note is my own aspiration is that it should be as welcoming to the public as possible, and because some of these things can be, we get used to them and everything, but they can be quite off-putting and intimidating to people sometimes. So I'm thinking of examples such as, I'll look at it in more detail and if I have any other suggestions, but 3I, where it says a person shall raise their hand when requesting to speak, fine, and stand when speaking, but then we make accommodations. To me, it's like, why do we just not oblige people to stand in the first place? Because none of us are standing up. We have a bit of history with this at the district council, so things like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I have had that experience before where people, the last council I was at, they actually insisted on everyone standing when they were addressing the mayor, it was. So it does depend on, obviously, the council, and certainly you can adapt, with whatever the new, or you could recommend to the new parish council, what you would be comfortable with, because I think that's important. Thank you.
Councillor Fletcher.
Just point of information that because we have the audio system, when people stand up, it makes it more difficult to hear them.
Yeah.
So there's a really sound technical reason to sit down when speaking.
Thank you.
And as noted in the budget, audio systems for the town council, as they will exist at Blackbridge, is in there to be sorted out, so that might influence that decision. Councillor Pounds.
With regard to Ruth's comment, most of the public queries coming to the neighbourhood councils come in through the clerks. So I feel that there needs to be some sort of formality that is echoed to the clerk as to how they would deal with that question, because they quite often deal with the questions on their own rather than taking it to the chair first.
Yes, so basically what we've done on the website at the moment, I was going to put down my email contact for the members of the public to contact me directly, but that isn't something that the district council was comfortable with, or isn't what they routinely do. They don't put individual officers' email addresses. So we've changed it to a generic email at the moment. But if you think that isn't going to work, please do let me know. And I don't know if did you want to add anything for that? Or?
So at the moment, it's the committee services email address that a lot of the public are familiar with anyway. We haven't had any inquiries yet, but I could obviously pass those on to Jill as and when. And I know the neighbourhood chairs and clerks have been thinking about things and passing them on to us as well. Yeah.
Further comments on the draft governance documents? Okay, seeing none, so those have been noted. We will then move on to agenda item 8, and that is the attendance to the Horsham Association of Local Councils Area Committee. I've been informed that the next meeting's date has actually been changed. It's the 25th of February, not the 12th. I would suggest, besides the interim clerk, who has already indicated she will attend, that either myself as the chair or the vice chair make an effort to attend. This, we're jumping ahead a bit, but this meeting would actually follow the date of the next shadow council meeting, so we wouldn't be able to report back. However, I believe on the 24th, if neither the chair or vice chair were available, we could seek a substitute. That's my suggestion. Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Moving on to item 9, the Horsham District Council website, interim arrangements. Hopefully you have seen there is now a page on the Horsham District Council website that does publish documents. I do have to confess, just before this meeting, the agenda was not working. I'm not sure if that was fixed. There was some sort of issue with that, taken to an odd sign-up page, but the other documents were working. I have separately asked the clerk, and this maybe comes a bit to some of the points you've been making, Councillor Fletcher. I was suggesting that the members of this group, for transparency, be listed on that page, because they are not. But I think based on the conversation that we've talked about, they are now. Okay.
They are.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, that was updated earlier on.
Okay, good. That was quick. Thank you. But I think, likewise to that comment, though, obviously, there won't be any email addresses linked from those names, and the email for the clerk that's being used is at the bottom of the page. So that's where I was going to bring up that communications point. Does anyone else have any comments on the website if they've seen it? Councillor Fletcher.
I'd like the website to be as welcoming as possible to members of the public. So I'd like it to show dates of next meeting and how to get there, even if that's down as a provisional at the moment. I think that the website should definitely include that.
With regards to an event of this meeting, obviously it was clarified this is a public meeting. There was no public forum on the agenda at the moment, but it was raised that had members of the public been here, I did query, and it would have been up to the chair's discretion to allow them to speak, which I would have been happy to do, but that's not the case at the moment. But I agree, perhaps for the future meetings, we can make that clear that contributions from the public would be welcome.
The other point that I thought was that could it actually include a link at least to how to stand for the town council or parish council?
Did not already?
Didn't
A
think it was
link
there.
for the agenda.
No,
for how to
just
stand for the
information
information about the elections.
about forthcoming elections and how to stand and so
Yeah.
on.
Sorry.
So in the first paragraph, it links to the upcoming elections page, which has all the dates on. It doesn't have
Doesn't have this election on it yet, though. I don't think. When I look,
I'll double check.
so I think we specifically need to know that this election is covered in enough detail that somebody who wants to stand is able to do that.
And sorry, Chair.
Yep.
And I think it will be incredibly helpful as well on a future agenda to actually have it as an item and actively encourage people, hopefully, that might be watching the meeting, and that they can reach out and explore the opportunities of a new parish council.
That would be great, yes, because I think it's already been noted by the public. I believe Councillor Sumter made the point that they are confused with the changes of are there elections, are there not elections from up on high. Councillor Buffy.
A confession, I haven't looked at that page recently, but I think it's and you've alluded to it already, interim clerk. It's not just about how to stand, but some links to information about the role of a parish clerk, a parish councillor, and being a councillor. I know county has had a page in the past and so on, but if we could have some useful steering to members of the public who might be interested in putting themselves forward about the role as well as just how you put yourself forward for it. Thanks.
So I believe there's a helpful page on the NALC site. Could we replicate, if not replicate, just reference that?
So yes, I've got actually some very helpful resources that are NALC based, and I was going to next week reach out to the comms team because obviously, I do need to liaise with the comms team here at HDC because it is their website. But yes, I've got some useful resources, and I think it's very important indeed to highlight the fact there's going to be a new parish council and give everybody the opportunity that are interested to see how they go about it. And I think there are actual some examples of people that have been a parish councillor and talking about their experience. So I'll definitely be sending those over, and hopefully we'll get those up on the website.
And I believe I might be turning to Democratic Services, but obviously it's Horsham District as the body that handles registration for elections. Will there be comms going out over the next few weeks, months about the town council elections? I'm sure I know the answer to that.
Yes, yeah, there will be, and as you know, poll cards will go out as expected and so on.
Great. Any further comments on the website or comms in general? Engaging with the public? Nope. Okay, so we'll move on to then agenda item 10, dates for the Shadow Council meetings. So these have been proposed for the 24th of February at 6 p.m. I believe also Monday.
That is a Tuesday, Chair.
Sorry, Tuesday, thank you, sorry. And then the 23rd of March at 6 p.m. What date of the week is that? Do we know?
I think that's a Monday.
Monday, okay. Both meetings are meant to take place here again in this council chamber. And you're welcome to publicise that to all of the community that you regularly engage with. But are there any comments or questions on those meeting dates? Seeing none, then that is the extent of our agenda this evening. So at 6:46 p.m. we can declare this meeting and the first meeting ever of a Shadow Town Council for Horsham closed. Thank you.